Welcome to the Property Gurus. Today, we're going to talk about the 6 golden rules for you to save money on your building project. These rules apply to any project that you're looking to embark upon, and the critical thing with any of these projects is to do your research before you start, and before you start getting quotes and getting people in and doing the work. Make sure you've done as much research as possible so that you're not going to be in a position where you need to make changes or do something different midway through the project. But we'll get into that in a minute. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. We've got lots of videos on our YouTube channel that will help you look at your projects in a different way, give you some ideas and help you with some ways and methods to improve how you go about looking at things. So please have a look at that. But first and foremost, let's get into the 6 golden rules. So number 1, the very first thing that you need to do when you're sorting out your project is to get a quote, but not just any quote, a detailed quote. So what do I mean by that? Whatever project you're doing, whether it's a loft conversion or an extension or just a complete revamp of your house, you need to tell the people that you want to give you a quote exactly what it is that you want them to do. So provide an extremely detailed brief. So if we're looking at a loft conversion as an example, you will want to tell them firstly how many rooms you're looking to create, whether it's one room, one large bedroom with an ensuite bathroom, whether it's 2 rooms, whether it's 2 rooms with a separate bathroom, 2 rooms with an ensuite bathroom, how many roof lights you're looking to put in, how many Velux windows, how many windows in the back of the room, how you want the room to be finished internally, whether you want it to be plastered and painted, to wallpapered, whether you're wanting LED downlights or a central light, whether you want dimmer switches, how many plug sockets you want, whether you want a bath and a shower or just a shower, whether you're looking to create internal cupboard space, built-in wardrobes, all of the things that you can think about, anything that you want in your project, you need to include it in the brief up front, because that way it will be included in the quote and won't be a point for discussion or additional extras later. Because the one thing that's going to cause your project to run over in terms of budget and time is making changes and asking for things that were not in your original brief. So the key issue for you is to make sure your brief is really detailed and includes absolutely everything that you want. In order to do that, you need to do the research. So look in magazines, go to friends' houses, look on the TV, look on YouTube. So have a look on all of the different channels that are on YouTube that have lots of different ideas and examples of the project that you're doing, and make sure you've thought through absolutely everything you want and put it in that brief. Because once it's in the brief, it's then included in the quote and you know exactly where you are, and there'll be no additional payments or costs later. So that's the first point. The second point relates to the first. When you're getting quotes, make sure you get a lot of different quotes. And when we say a lot of different quotes, we're not talking 2 or 3. We're talking 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. A lot of quotes. Have a look on our YouTube channel. We've got a video on there as to how to go about finding builders and obtaining quotes using the internet. Internet is a fantastic tool. You can do a lot of work for your project sitting at your desk or your tablet or even on your phone. All you need to do is go and find some of the websites where you can obtain quotes from builders using your detailed quote we just talked about, and you will get lots of different interested parties sending you quotes through the internet and on your phone. So get a lot of different quotes. The building trade is all about pitching for business and then maybe winning a small percentage. Builders do not expect to win every single quote that they give out. And in fact, probably wouldn't be able to handle every single job if they won all of the business. So don't feel guilty. Don't feel nervous about asking for quotes. That's the way the industry works. But for you, if you get 6 or 7 quotes, you then will be able to see, firstly, the difference in prices. Secondly, the difference in approach. So it might be that some of the builders give you a very detailed response with listings of all the different costings, or it might be that they don't give you that. They just give you a summary, which just gives an overall price. It will give you a feel for whether or not that's the sort of builder you want to work with. So get plenty of quotes. By shopping around, you'll be able to get the best price, to get the best builder that you're looking to work with. So you'll get a feel for what they're like just from that initial point of contact. And you'll just make sure that you've searched the market and you've got the right people at the right price to do your job. The next golden rule is to have a look at the detailed breakdown of that quote. So what you want really is for the builder to be able to tell you how much they're charging for each particular item within your build. And when I'm talking about items, we're talking about the big issues. So generally, the areas where they may be subcontracting are the areas where you could potentially save some money. So the key ones for that are usually the electrics and the plumbing, and quite often the painting. So those 3 parts can be very expensive part of your job. So we'll give you an example. We did a full house renovation. So this was taking a 3-bedroom house and renovating and extending it. And we got the quotes in from a number of builders. Now the electrics on that job, the prices given by different builders ranged from £5,000 to £15,000 for exactly the same job, exactly the same brief. Now that's a £10,000 difference. So what we did was then obtain some quotes from electricians directly, where we were able to get quotes that were a lot cheaper than the 15,000 that was quoted by the most expensive builder. And then we used that as a bargaining tool. So we said to a couple of the builders, look, your electricians are coming in at £9,000. We can get this for £4,000. So we can either use our own guys, or can you get your guys to bring their price down? So that's a way of taking control of your project, making sure you're happy with all the different parts of the build. The plumbing and the heating is another very good example. So again, using a real life example, we had a house recently that we renovated, and we needed to replace the boiler with a new combination boiler. Now boilers can range in price, and you can pay a lot of money, but we knew the type of boiler we wanted, if you bought it directly from the internet, was less than £1,000 to purchase. We specified that boiler in our spec that we gave to the builders, and the most expensive we had back was one plumber wanted to charge £8,000 to replace the heating system and supply that boiler. That we ended up arranging for a plumber to do it directly. He charged £1,000 for installation and £1,000 for the boiler. So we got it done for £2,000 when it could have cost £8,000. So a really big cost saving. So ask the builder to give you a breakdown of the expensive parts of the job. So the electrics, the plumbing, and often the painting. The painting is something else that often builders will charge a lot of money for. So you may have another example for us. We've had quotes for a full house renovation when the painting came in at £20,000, and we put that job out on mybuilder.com as an example to see what people would do it for, and we were getting quotes in for £4,000 and £5,000 for the same job. So £15,000 difference in the price for the same job. So get the breakdown for the job, and then have a look at the parts that you think are more expensive. Put them on My Builder or one of the other websites, Rated People. Get some actual quotes for the same job, and then you can talk to the builder and either decide if you want to use their guys at a lower price than they originally quoted, or to use your own people. The next golden rule is related to the research and the brief and all the things we've just been speaking about. Do not make any changes to your specification. Changes And things that are different to your brief will cost you money and time in your job. There is nothing worse than getting halfway through a job and suddenly deciding that you wanted to add an extra toilet, or you need to move a wall, or you need to do something that is going to fundamentally cause a major problem, where the electrics need to be redone. Maybe you've already plastered and it's too late to do some of this work without causing massive disruption. So do not make any changes. It goes back to what we were saying about do your research. Research. Make sure you've thought through every single thing that you might want in your project, because making changes is bad news for you and generally good news for the builder, because changes and extras will cost you a lot more than the original quote. So anything that comes in as an extra generally will be very expensive, because the builder is the only person who can do that work. It does cause a lot of disruption. It can throw their timings out. So if they've scheduled for the plumber and the electrician and the plasterer and the painter to come on certain times, and suddenly you're doing something which means they need to go back and do more building work, it throws everything out and can really disrupt everybody's timetable and scheduling. So do not make any changes. Make sure you've thought through absolutely everything to the exact detail that you want it. So think through where you want that cupboard, whether you want any drawers in it, how you want the doors to open, where you want the windows, where you want lighting, where you want PowerPoints. All of that stuff's really important, because have a look at some of our videos. You will see how the build process works. Everything is planned from the start. So if you suddenly decide midway through your project or towards the end of your project that you need more PowerPoints, or to move the switches for your lights, or to reposition a window, it's going to cause you major problems. So think through absolutely everything on the job. Don't make any changes, and then you'll end up with a happier build that comes in on time and on schedule. The next golden rule is to shop around and buy things yourself. So in your quote, if you want to, include all of the things that you're looking to have in your project. So you may want shower, bathroom, fittings, radiators, light switches, downlights, all of those things, doors, all the things that are important to you for the finish. All of these things you should buy yourself. So you can include it in the brief, and quite often the builder will come back and say all the fittings are something that you need to supply, because they can range in price from inexpensive to very expensive for all of the things that we're looking at. So buy those things yourself. Now, if you're doing that, if you're buying items yourself for the build, you need to make sure that you've got them in plenty of time, because if you don't have the light fittings and the light switches and the sockets and the doors and anything else that you want to supply, the shower valves, anything like that, if it's not ready when the builder needs to fit it, then it's going to cause a delay on your job, and then will usually result in cost overruns and can spiral quite quickly. If the scheduling gets thrown out and the builder moves some of his people to a different job, then it might be another 2 weeks before they're available to come back. So if you're buying the doors and the handles and all these things yourself, make sure you buy them in plenty of time, you've got them ready, and that when the builder needs them, they're on site and ready to be used and fitted, because then everything will go smoothly and to plan, and you will have all of the finishes that you're looking for. So the last golden rule, only 6 of them, so not a lot to remember, but the very last golden rule is time is money. And what do we mean by that? Well, what we mean is that when you're getting your quote, when you're talking to the builder, when you're planning your job, ask them how long it's going to take, and tell them that you want it done as quickly as possible. And if you do that, and if you work with the builder, then you'll be able to put together a realistic timetable that you can both plan around and both stick to. So have a look at our videos. We recently completed a loft conversion in just 18 days from start to finish, which is incredibly fast. The average time for a loft conversion is somewhere between 3 and 6 months. So 18 days is super quick. The only reason we were able to do that was that we had a builder who was keen to work with us and try to deliver the project in as fast a time as possible. And we then worked with them to make sure that they had all of the materials and everything lined up and ready to go at the appropriate times. So things were being ordered and delivered to site on a daily basis. So we made sure that they had all of the timber at the time when they needed it, then all the plasterboard, all the plaster, the insulation, the tiles, all of those things were all delivered at the right time. There was no hold-ups and delays. The builder didn't then... Quite often you'll have a situation where the builder may not start ordering items until he's finished the previous round of works and is moving on to that particular section. Do not work like that. Ensure that you're planning ahead, that you're talking to the builder about keeping on schedule, making him stick to the timetable. And equally, if you're living in the house, if you're in the property, you need to make sure you work with them as well as possible. So if it's quicker and easier for them to be able to work longer hours and come at the weekends and not have to reconnect your heating or your water, or just leave things in a way that it's taking them longer to do, then agree to that up front. Say it's okay for you to work through to late at night, and we're okay with you not reconnecting the water for a couple of days if that's needed, as long as you can plan ahead for it. So time is money. Make sure the job gets done as quickly as possible. Quite often, you'll have a builder who works on the basis of doing the job as quickly as possible to earn more profit, because the quicker they do the work, the less days pay they have to give to their guys, and then they will make more profit. So if you get a builder who's incentivized to do things as quickly as possible, then that is going to work in your favor. And they will be able to organize for building control to come at the right time and to make sure that everything's being done to a satisfactory standard and within the rules, but within your accelerated timetable. So time is money. Make sure you keep focused on getting things done as quickly and efficiently to a high quality standard as possible. So that's the 6 golden rules for helping you to save money on your project. The overriding principle is always do your research. If you plan ahead, if you work out exactly what you want, where you want it, and how you're going to get there, then you'll be able to pull together an efficient schedule with the builder to make sure that your job comes in on time and on budget. So we're the Property Gurus. Thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.